Hello, friends. Let's make 2 gnomes for St. Patrick's Day. Here are the supplies needed for today's craft. A floral cone, a pool noodle. You'll want 2 pairs of socks, one in a theme color and one in plain white. Then some pom-poms for noses, some silk flowers, and then you'll need a mop or some gnome beard, whichever you choose to use. And then finally some ribbon and some coins for embellishments. Now to begin, since there is Hanes written on this sock, I like to cut that off. So I just flatten the sock out and then just cut right straight across the toe. And then I come up here to the heel and I will cut straight across right there at the heel. Now we've got our cute little base for our gnome. Like I said, you can use any color sock that you want, but most of it's covered up with the beard. So I like to just save my decorative socks for hats, and then I will use these just plain white socks for the body. Just want to take that and put it right over your cone. Tuck that down on the bottom. And we're just going to secure that down with a glue gun. Just put that right down. And we'll do the same thing for the top. Now his hat's going to come down, so you can just fold this extra material in, or even just cut it off a little bit if you prefer. But I just pull it up pretty tight. Make sure that's going to be in the back there. And then just glue that right up there to the top. Just like we did the bottom. Like I said, most of this is going to be covered up anyway with the beard and the hat. Just try to get a pretty good little finish for down here on the body. Okay. Right. Now that we have that covered, pick the smooth side, which this is the smooth side. I think I'm going to make that the back because that'll be what's shown, because the front, I said, will be covered up. So I'm going to leave the smooth side to the back and go with this as the front. Now I've chosen, I think this is going to be the little gnome nose here. This green pom-pom. I think that's going to be kind of cute. I don't know if we should go with the small or the large. I think we'll go with the large. Give him a little bit of personality there. We'll find the center about right there because I want to have room to bring the hat down. And we'll just attach his little pom-pom nose. Now you can use a wood bead. You know, it's unlimited the different things you can use for a gnome nose, just as it's unlimited for the items you can choose for the base of the gnome. I've actually filled socks with rice before. I've used a pool noodle, and this time here I'm using the cone. So there we go. Now we've got our little gnome nose attached, glued on there, and secure. Now for his beard, I think what I'm going to do is just, I've disassembled the flower. I'm just going to cut these petals, or these flower petals, first of all in half, because that's how I'll be gluing them on. And then as I need single ones, I can disassemble it just a little bit more. But I think this is what I'm going for here. And then I'll just start layering the other ones on. That one may be cute on the bottom with all that glitter. So I'm just going to start layering his little beard on with just a dab of glue. Then once you get it exactly how you like it, you can always go back and add more glue to make sure it stays secure. We'll come in with another piece, and we'll kind of offset those petals a little bit, like that. Still got a little bit of glue on there from a minute ago. Let's go for another piece of glitter edge. I think that's looking kind of cute. Maybe I'll cut this little circle off here. There we go. Just keep adhering his little beard on. And you want to graduate it in layers as you move up his face there. I've got a long one in the back, goes to medium, and now we need some short ones right there in the front. So I think I'm just going to maybe cut these separately. Let's see. I can cut them off a little bit, make them shorter because they're going to be the top layer there. Then we can just individually place these where we think they should go. Right there. For one on the other side. And then one right in the middle. This one's tending to curl up on me, so I'm gonna cut that part that's folding up on me off. Maybe cut a little from the top off. And then just put that right on. How cute is that? I think I like this little gnome's beard like this. That's kind of cute. Now, if we think we can come over to the side and add a couple of long pieces, maybe we need one. I think maybe we need one right here since this top side goes up a little bit. So I'm going to trim a little bit of this off and place one right there. There we go. Okay, so we're going to let that glue dry a minute. And it'll be time to put his hat on. Now for the hat, like I said, I like to use the decorative sock for the hat and then just use the white sock for the body. So that way my decorative socks last longer. And you don't see a whole lot of the white anyway because that is covered up there with his beard and his nose and everything. So what I do is I cut right here across his heel. Okay, so I've cut the heel off there and it's time now to place it on our gnome. But I do like to have sort of a finished end there, so I will come in and turn the end of that sock up and just glue that down in place. So we're going to have a little bit of a finished end rather than a frayed end. So just go in there and just attach a little bit of glue to hold that down. Just a little bit of glue. Hold that down all the way around. We'll let that dry, and then we're going to turn that back right side out and place it on our gnome. Hopefully that'll hold in place. Okay, I think that's dried enough. So let's turn it back right side out. Oh, it's still got a little bit of wet glue, so let's let that dry a minute. Now another thing you can do with this top, I think since he's got a little pom-pom here, we might put a pom-pom on the end of his hat, but you can just take your string and tie that off and have a pom-pom there, just like that. So I'm trying to decide, should we have a pom-pom? Let's just keep the pom-pom for his nose and then we'll tie this off. So I'll show you a new way with your socks to make a little pom-pom there on the end. So what you want to do is take some string and just gather that right up there around the top of the sock. And tie it off. Double knot it. And clip those string pieces. Okay, now see how you just created your own little pom-pom just from the sock. So that's going to be cute. All right, I think this is dry now, the hem, so we're ready to place our hat down onto our gnome's head. So we're going to start up here at the top. Just push that right down on the head. And the reason I like the cones is because it keeps your hat kind of stable. Now, some people like to tip the hat over. If that's the case, you could move the nose up higher and then end your hat like that. But I like for my hat to stick up on my gnome. So what I do is I just come in, slide that sock right down on the gnome, and then secure it right there, right around his nose area. I like to put the sides on first. We're going to cover up these unfinished pieces of the flower. So we'll just put a little bit of glue right there and pull that hat right down on top of that unfinished flower. Let that dry. We'll do the same thing to the other side. Right down that unfinished piece on the flower. And then lastly, when I get it just exactly how I like it on the nose, then I just pull that nose up, put a little bit of glue right there. He's looking a little cute. We've got his hat on, his little pom-pom up here, his nose, and his beard that we made out of a flower. Now it's time for the fun part. We're just going to embellish this little guy up with whatever we think would be cute. Okay, so to finish our gnome off, I think we'll put, it's got little shamrocks on his sock, so I think we're just going to put a shamrock right there, kind of off-centered, right there for his hat decoration. Put a little bit of glue there. Attach that. And then the last thing, I think, is we will take this ribbon and just tie that right there, right along that pom-pom of his hat. Okay, so we got the bow tied. I'm just going to clip those ribbon tails. So there we have our gnome for St. Patrick's Day. I like that the flower was used for the beard. Made our own pom-pom out of the sock up here. Embellished it, put it on the cone, and I think he's ready to go. And now I'm going to show you how to make a St. Patrick's Day gnome using the pool noodle. Okay, so we're going to take our sock and place it on the pool noodle, and you want to push the pool noodle all the way down into the sock. Now what I like to do is stop where it says Hanes, because you don't want that to show on your gnome when you're finished. It says Hanes there on the sock. So I'll stop a little bit short of there, and then what I'll do is I'll just take the rest of the tip of the sock and I'm just going to tuck it into the inside of that pool noodle. Right there. So now you see you've kind of got a cute finished edge all the way around the bottom of your gnome. Now I'll come up to the top, and then I'm just going to tie this top off with a piece of string. This is what's going to be under the hat. I'll just tie that off right there on the top. Double knot that so it won't come undone. And trim those ends. Yeah, we've got our base, our body of our gnome. And just come back in and trim that kind of close right there. Now we're ready to put our gnome nose on. Now since I have a beard that I'm going to be using today, I want to check the length. So that'll be right there where I put his beard. Just going to flip back that top and add a little bit of glue right there. Okay. And adhere that down. Now it's time to put the nose on. Just going to put it right there in the center of the beard. Gnomes are such a quick and fun craft to make, and kids can make these. It's great for kids. They're not very hard to do, and you can have pretty much everything ready and then help them with the glue gun if they need it. Okay, so I've got the beard attached and the little nose stuck on. The next thing we're going to do is use the theme sock to place the hat on the gnome. Now sometimes, as you've seen before, I cut the sock apart to use it as a hat so we can avoid this heel area. But what I'm going to show you today is a way that you can keep the entire sock, use this as the band, and we'll be able to hide this area of the heel right here. So the first thing we're going to do is turn the sock wrong side out. And we're going to tie off with the string the complete green part of the toe. That's going to hide it, and I'm going to show you how that hides it right here in a second. So you just want to gather the top of that hat together where it's, the top of the sock together where it's green. Tie that off. And clip those ends. Now essentially what you've done when you turn this back, as you can see, you've hidden the toe. The toe area is now down inside of the hat. And I'll show you how we're going to hide this as well. Okay, now we're going to place the sock. We've hidden the end there. It's inside. Turn it back right side out. And we're going to place the sock over the gnome's head now for his hat. Now, I told you I'm going to show you a way to hide this part of the heel. So you want to make sure that that is on the side of the gnome's head, because what we're going to do is we're going to flip his hat down and we'll be covering up that heel of the sock when we flip it down. So just take the band of your sock and put it around the gnome's head, making sure that this heel is off to the side. And I like to pull the hat down a little bit in the back on the gnome. And then secure that with some glue. Now, to show you how we're going to hide that heel, I like to tuck it in. You can see here's what it looks like right now. Now, I like to kind of tuck those pieces in just so they're not sticking out so far. So, tuck that in a little bit. Just place that towards the inside. See how I did that? I just tucked that end in, pulled it up, and I'm just going to
glue those outer pieces right there together. I hope that made sense. Maybe it makes more sense just by seeing me do it. Okay, so now what we've done, we've just essentially tucked those extra pieces inside the hat and just glued down a little seam. Now we're going to take our gnome hat and we're going to come right down here on the side and attach it right where, there it is. Attach it right there over that heel area, so then we didn't have to cut our sock apart at all. So just take some glue, attach that right down there. Okay, so we have the hat tip glued down over that heel, so you can't see that. Now, just gotta do the embellishing. And I think I liked that flower as a beard on the other one, so I think what I'm gonna do is remove some of these outer petals and get a smaller flower and just put that right there on our gnome's hat, maybe as like the little ball on the end of the hat. So first of all, we're going to disassemble the flower. I'm gonna pull off a couple of those bigger petals. I think that looks like it might be the perfect size to put right there on his hat, or her hat. So I'm going to trim off just right there where I had taken off those other petals. And maybe put a little bit of glue down in there so the petals don't come apart. And just stick that right there on the tip of our gnome's hat. Let's see what that's going to look like. I like that. I think that's cute. A little flower as the ball on the hat. Now we can look at it, see what we want to do different. I always like to take the beards out, give them like a little mustache sticking out there. Okay, now we can do other things. There's lots of things to do. Put another bow on them or some ribbon or something, but I think I'm just going to maybe just stick a little coin somewhere on here, because I bought these coins and I haven't used them yet. I think I'm just gonna stick one of these good luck coins right here on his beard. Maybe look like he might be holding it in his hand. A 4-leaf clover for good luck. Maybe I'll have that facing forward. Put a little glue on the back. Put that right on there. And there we're finished with our other little gnome. I don't know which one's my favorite. Let's see. Compare them both together here. We've got the one where we used the flower for the beard, a big nose. And then we've got the second one where we used a flower on the hat and a small nose.
So there they are, both of our gnomes that we made today for St. Patrick's Day. I'd like to see pictures of yours. Please share them with us. If you would like to be one of our charmers, please click that subscribe button and join the group with us. It's always a party when we're together. I enjoyed crafting with you today, and until next time, so long.